Aha, we are live. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to a scene for Edessa, the Dark Crusade, wherein I believe we will be setting the scene, just approaching the stables, where wherein Garnet and Mina are returning from their trip. Like as not, all things considered, with how they got there, with one of them riding in a carriage. Uh, they'll probably make that last little bit of the way back with of all things, with Garnet on Mina's horse and Mina walking alongside because, well, once you get back into the city, well, into the vicinity of the city, it's not that long a walk, and it's not like she doesn't make it all the time. She'll be fine. So yeah, I imagine this will set with them approaching the stables, and Mina, regardless of being, well, we'll stick with the term well fed, thanks to their little trip out, has upon losing the luxury of company, also lost the luxury of the false cheer and has probably been quiet. So quiet that it's kind of obnoxious compared to her norm, really.
And when they get to the stables, the horse is handed off. Olenna comes and whispers something up to Garnet. She doesn't say anything. He just smiles. And he will put his arm around Mina and lead her to that empty stall. He'll open the stall door, and there is Persepolis, the dead horse. One of Garnet's favorite horses.
And wouldn't you know it, Mina is not completely stupid. So when, after all this silence, Granite drapes one of his arms around her, she does not respond in a positive fashion. In fact, if anything, she kind of shirks up a bit, kind of pulls in her arms, pulls in her shoulders. Doesn't pull out from under his arm, but doesn't seem especially comfortable there for once. Though she will
Poor,
she
poor
will
Persepolis. Say, staring at the obviously drained, dead horse.
and yeah, with the stall cast open, she's very studious of her feet at the moment. She's well aware that horse is still there. She has peripheral vision. She can see it.
So much vitality and life and wildness. Poor thing. Snuffed out by someone's ineffectiveness. Such a tragic irony.
She just kind of holds silent, though her expression shifts. Her lips kind of form into a line. The the regret is obvious.
Such a poor little beast. As he'll kneel down, stroke its hair very softly.
And as he lets go, in theory, to do this, to get down to where he can reach the mane while the horse is draped out on the ground, Mina turns the slightest bit. She doesn't try to walk away. Again, she's not stupid. She's upset. She's furious with herself. She's almost angry with him. But she's not stupid enough to try to do something as brazen as turn and walk away. What she does do, however, is turn towards the inside of the door, like in the direction where it can't be denied that that body is still well within her peripheral, even if she's not looking at it directly, and just kind of finally thumps her forehead against the side of the stall door.
How did he taste, Mina?
Why did you have to give me that one?
Oh, I'm sorry. Would you rather Me let you out into the city where there's a plague?
No.
Oh, you just stand up very sharply. Or would you rather me let you bumble your way through everything always?
She, especially as he snaps up, she actually retreats a step. Like she'd been kind of ready to lean up against that door frame, but when he snaps up, nah, she's a step further back, very abruptly.
Is it my fault that you're incapable of controlling yourself?
It was.
Think of this as a lesson. Because now you owe me. Be thankful that it's me. Could you imagine if this was Madeleine?
Wouldn't go near Madeline like that.
Could you imagine if this was Madeleine?
Her lips firm a little bit. Her brow knits. Just the barest edge of what eventually tends to become a very stubborn expression. No.
Could you imagine if this was somebody we didn't know and you made such a bundling error like this? Could you imagine if you killed Elena?
She shoots a
Oh,
sharp glance at the kind of a cutting side glance at the body of the horse.
I could have pushed
No.
Elena in there with you.
That would have been your choice.
Would it now? See, you like to pride yourself in your thrills and your vain attempts trying to find that thing I asked you about. And in reality, you're little more than a wild boar chasing and scrambling around a field.
She finally turns again, not facing completely away, but essentially facing off to one side. Like so she's got a shoulder pointed his way.
Now I have no problem with you losing control and riding your beast like it's meant to be ridden. But then there's practicality. And there's consequences. So riding the wave bears consequence. Make sure that when you do ride that wave, you know exactly every move you're going to make, and you didn't. So I taught you a lesson of consequence. You've now killed one of my favorite horses. But he can be replaced easier than most things I could have left in there with you. And now you owe me.
And whether it's any number of emotions that cause it, she is well, we'll still stick with the term watery eyed as she again just shoots kind of a cutting glance at the dead horse. Could have just put in my horse.
That would be too easy, wouldn't it? Do you think I'd really make it easy for you? Do you think that's fair on you to give you the easy option of you killing your precious horse? Wouldn't it
Still would
feel?
have cost me something.
Oh, but this is so much better for you because I can get 1,000 Persepholuses. But now you've learned something. You kill your horse. What? You feel regret. Maybe I could have put Alonso in there with you.
Oh, he gets the cutting look.
See? Don't you glare at me like that, Mina. You lost control at my stables. My stables. I could have done anything I wanted to you. But I didn't. I took care of you. But you have to pay the price. Because the first one's for free.
Set up the scene here.
What do you do?
Just setting up the scene.
Oh boy. What are you rolling there, Katie?
I'm just checking. Oh, it's fine. It's fine. At some point during the lecturing, her jaw kind of clenches, but it stays that way.
And now you're getting agitated because it's the truth of what you're hearing. You know, Mother would have done a far worse punishment. Do you know
I
who
don't
she would have
care
done?
what Mother would have done.
Oh, you don't care. Well, then very well. The next time you feed, I'll put Alonzo in there with you. And I'll make you drink from him. Then will you care?
Why do you want me to care what Mother would do? Mother isn't
Because
here.
no, she's not. But you're still acting like you're expecting a punishment like Mother. You're still trying to clench your jaw, put your pouty little face on, and expect that that's going to rush by me when you're so close to understanding. Point is, Mina, I could have done 1,000 worse things to you. But I didn't, did I? Instead, I gave you a little slap on the wrist. No harm, no foul.
Oh god, I need to roll it again. So good.
Hmm.
She's still clenching the jaw. Still especially at this point being like, "Oh, but I could have, but I didn't." And she can't help it. She is just not quite glaring. It just doesn't have the weight for it. But she's staring.
Yeah. And he gets up and bam, right across her face, like hard. Hard. Yeah, that's a proper smack.
And yeah, let's face it, of all the things he could have done in the moment, he seemed to be in lecture mode, so I doubt she had any chance to really see that one coming. So yeah, he smacks her hard enough that it jerks her head off to one side. She will reel
You
back a step, putting a hand up on her cheek.
you look at Persephon's eyes when I'm talking to you. And don't you dare look at me like that again. You look in my horse's eyes, Mina. You look at your kill. His eyes go like has that wild ice glare about it.
And she kind of reels back the step, brings up the hand to her cheek, and her mouth opens just kind of like mostly for the yelp, and it lingers that way. And after that, especially with him getting wild eyed, it snaps shut. So sharply her teeth click. And she will obediently turn her head and look at the horse. Jaw clenched tightly, and at this point, teeth grinding.
You know what? spends 2 points into that.
Oh
Jesus.
no, what did you do?
2, 3, 4. Spent that. 3 plus that. It's that. You know, it'll be that. Jesus. Yeah, that's. It is only 1 damage. He bashes your head into the side of the post.
Ironically, I might still fail to soak it. Oh, she does manage to, but it's still. I bet it still stings like a bitch, even if it doesn't leave lingering damage. Yeah. So what? What exactly?
Grabs her by the hair and just hits her side of the head off the post. Quite aggressive, shockingly aggressive. Garnet Norman doesn't get aggressive.
Not like that. No, slapping maybe, grabbing maybe, but just straight brute violence, not so much. So immediately in the wake of that, she is going to kind of like essentially thrash out from under his hand and look to get a bit of distance away from him. That kind of unspoken safety zone that most people flee to when they're trying to get out of reach, but not try to get away.
Attempt to grapple her, actually. He misses. He misses wildly.
Maybe it was the panic, but she gets the fuck out from under his hands. Maybe she's too familiar with his reach.
You killed
disarms her. No.
My horse. You think I'm being nice? You think that I am playing with you? You killed my horse. My horse. That I trained. That I bred. That I meticulously took care of. And you want to make it out like it's my fault? I'll roll willpower because something's kicking in. Boy. Thank God. Okay, 2 successes. So he clenches his fists, opens his eyes, looks around, stares at her.
So sorry, what just went off? I had to yell at Bob because he was being super loud.
Rolled for a trigger. He passed his willpower check.
Oh, good.
2 successes. But then he'll start taking another step towards her. My horse you killed. And you don't even apologize to me. You just stand there gritting your teeth. You don't even look at it. You don't even thank me for taking care of you. By showing you how devoted I am to helping you, to making sure that this scheme of ours works along. But no. You just grit your teeth at me, as if I'm the one who's done wrong.
And with a lecture like that, he actually succeeds in just creeping up on her a step at a time. Because it's getting in her head, and it's working through. And she's just pulling in more and more on herself. By the time he gets within reach of her, she'll have her arms kind of wrapped tightly around her top, just clutching at the opposite arms. She is, for all that she's a good distance away. The angle may not be quite right. But she's looking into the stall as she's being lectured.
So for that, the price of what you owe just went up. and I expected so much better from you. You turn, begin to walk away, hands behind his back, moving quite unusually. She can try and pee in it if she would like.
She would like. So this is like a posture and essentially a
Yeah,
vision thing.
yeah. Yes. Yes. 5 successes. Holy fucking Jesus.
She's got good eyes.
Garnet treasures his horses above everything else. It is very unusual for him to do such a thing. What Mina can tell is he is agitated. He normally takes very good care of his horses, and to see one so recklessly, needlessly put down, he is disappointed with himself and with Mina for making him make a snap decision. And he is beginning to regret maybe helping out with that decision.
And it's probably about time that he turns to start walking away from her. That she breaks line of sight on the corpse laying in the stall. Looks after him. I'm sorry.
He'll stop and turn around. What was that?
And okay, she brave faces it, so yeah. She doesn't look down. She doesn't start breaking down. She just keeps looking after him. Like kind of searching for his eyes as soon as he turns himself around. I'm sorry.
You're sorry for what?
Until now, you took care of me because you wanted to, not because I needed taken care of. I'm sorry that you had to feed me, and I'm sorry that you had to choose to take care of me. And she finally turns and gets to the point where it's obvious that she's kind of side-eyeing the stall. She doesn't turn to fully face it again. I'm sorry I killed your horse. I wasn't that far gone. I could have not.
But you did. Now what are you going to do to make it right? Because words mean nothing to me.
And she kind of licks her lips for a second, purses them in, and then kind of dutifully, it's not quite a shuffle, but it's nothing like her normal enthusiastic walk or stroll. But she'll kind of move up to him and kind of like you would expect to see a small child doing with a parent in a way that's just kind of a matter of rote rather than enthusiasm. She'll trail up to him and even go so far as to get up onto her toes if she has to put a very like token peck of a kiss on his cheek and then sink back down. Could start by saying thank you.
You could. Just remember, Mina. Remember who takes care of you. Remember now that you owe the person who takes care of you so well. Hopefully you do anything to prove that I made the right choice.
No, I would.
You lean forward, menacingly, actually, like a mantis, like about ready to pull something in to take a meal.
She
I would think,
stiffens. She doesn't cringe.
I would think that, but you killed my horse. Mother killed my horse before. Mother killed all my horses before.
And she visibly bites her tongue for a hot couple seconds before ducking her eyes again.
So the question is, Mina, are you going to make the same mistake Mother did? Or are you going to make it right?
I want to say I didn't mean to, but I did.
Doesn't matter the intention. It's what you're going to do afterwards. Are you going to hide and grit your teeth and blame everyone else but yourself? Or are you going to, when the time comes and I say, do what has to be done without hesitation?
You know I'll do what you tell me.
We'll see. We'll see which you choose. Order or chaos.
The eye kind of sparks a second, not maliciously, just that there's obviously a playful thought that crosses her mind.
You just
Obviously,
step.
the thought kind of dies before it makes it out of her mouth, but
I'm a peony. Fuck it. See what this gets me. One, three. Three successes.
she found a certain contradiction in the last statement or two that amused her deeply. And she might have made a comment on it, but it's very clear that she is, at this point, trying to be more conscious of his response than of just how fun it would be to say everything that crosses her mind. He may even get the impression, especially as it flits and before it dies, her jaw kind of clenches. It's probably not that she was so much expressing frustration previously, but that she was holding something in. Just nothing so entertaining as this time.
And when she looks into his eyes, she is met with that ice cold stare. There's no smile. His voice almost seems artificial and robotic. We'll see what you choose. Because you can claim to be damned. But always choose the basic path. Or you can represent chaos itself and choose the path which is necessary, which is always the right one. We'll see which you're capable of.
I wanted to show you I could do better.
You didn't.
I didn't.
In fact, you're just like her.
Aww. Still holding it together. Oh, she definitely like looks almost as sharply up as when he smacked her the first time.
No, she's not. He's going to roll that dim. That's 2 successes. He floods that guilt right the fuck up with that feeling, all those feelings associated with it. Every
Oh.
feeling.
Well, she was holding it together. She looked hurt, certainly, but it wasn't that bad. And yeah, funny how a little touch, well, just a little outward touch from a Malkavian does a lot of damage. And she had that previous level held in tightly. It wasn't good. It didn't feel good to hold it in, but she did. And then it just starts bubbling up beyond anything that she can repress in or down. And yeah, the tears just start flowing down her face. And
There,
she just kind of sinks down, sits on the stable, like in the aisle, and if he doesn't do something fairly quickly, we'll end up pulling her knees up and wrapping our arms around them.
there it is. See, this is why you have me so concerned. Hiding in everything from me. Hiding how you're feeling. Hiding away. Putting order on top of it. You can't show me. Whereas if you truly, truly embraced it, you would have started sobbing the moment you saw the horse again. Hmm.
It's not fair.
It's not fair. What's not fair?
You don't show everything.
I did. I showed everything to the people where no one else could see.
You don't show everything you feel and everything you think.
Hmm. That's because I was waiting to see if you were like Mother or not.
Not like Mother.
Prove it to me otherwise.
If I was like Mother, you would have locked me outside.
Crone told me not to. She told me to give you a chance, and I did. And this is the chance I see.
She finally kind of chokes again. And I am not going to wail loudly into the microphone, but she just kind of wails again that she's sorry. Voice cracking.
Um, just stare at her. Just stare at her.
She
Now,
almost
Mina.
immediately plops her forehead down on her knees.
Now, Mina. What are you going to do to prove the crone right? That she was right that I gave you a chance. What are you going to do for me?
She just kind of starts by there's a very muffled, but it's not completely unintelligible. Just her frustratedly yelling that she doesn't know into her knees, which isn't especially helpful. Though she'll immediately after pick up her face and wipe it on her sleeve, which, well, not the best thing for her tunic, but there you have it. I already do what you ask.
I'm gonna stare at her again. What would you do for me?
Whatever will prove it.
He smiles, so wicked. And if I was to say that I was a god, would you believe me?
She slowly kind of looks up him. He's already tall, and she's sitting on the ground. The effect is not lost on her. I think so.
You think so? You'll
I
step again, increasing his massive height.
why else would you be the only one that hears them?
And if I told you I could show you, I could get you to finally hear them, what would you do?
As long as you were swimming with me.
Hmm. You'll smile. I want you to close your eyes. And you'll get to taste a god.
With his temper flying back and forth, it's a longer ask than it normally might be. There is a slight pause. And definitely an upward glance of the big sad eyes, but after a moment, she does close her eyes, though he'll probably actually catch her tensing just ever so slightly, though I should probably make you perception alertness it.
Ooh. Yeah, fuck it. Ooh. Yeah, I see it.
I'm not even rolling against that. Fuck it. No, yeah, it's very slight. It's not a cringe. It's not a wince. It's just very, very subtle lines of tension.
Let's have
She
some fun.
obviously has no idea what to expect.
Oh, hot diggity Jesus. Okay, so, Mina, all that tension, all that worry, the second Garnet's hand touches your skin, you even feel it against your cheek. It just vanishes with one, two, three, four, five, six successes.
Yep. Is that the one that removes all emotion?
Mm-hmm. It's
Oh, it
that
sweeps away the
removes,
sadness too.
yeah, complete sadness. She'll still feel like happiness and stuff, but he's mainly targeting the sadness and tension. That's the side of the emotions he's targeting.
Yeah, it doesn't, you know what? There's no real happiness present at the moment to sweep away. So, yeah, it's just an almost immediate sense of calm settles over her the second he touches her cheek. And
And
she
as
relaxes visibly, almost slumps a little bit.
he'll trace his fingers along, and with his hand, he'll move his hand away and reach over to his wrist and put it to his own mouth and just bite down so little droplets of blood, and then we'll reach over and she can feel his wrist and drops of blood against her lips.
She can't well up with so much emotion, but she does startle. Maybe not even when he initially lays it there. Maybe not even when there's wetness on her lips initially. But as soon as she gets the first hint of that like coppery taste, she doesn't recoil, not dramatically, but she does startle badly enough to turn a very confused glance up.
You said you wanted a taste, and you'd do anything. Have a taste of a small drop. What a god and a conduit of chaos tastes like. Or don't you trust me?
And all the protests she can come up with kind of die before they make it past her lips. And she takes a moment, kind of, not a long one. Give me 1 second. I look at a thing. And I feel like I'm gonna have to make a roll after this. But yeah. She will look confused. Only because there's some sort of niggling thought in the back of her mind that this is contradictory to something. Something. But she kind of tentatively reaches up with a hand, if he lets her, to kind of cup the back of his hand and wrist.
Mm-hmm. And he'll say, only one. Take only one.
And thankfully she's well fed now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. There is again a very brief pause, just enough to sow just a touch of doubt before finally she settles for very tentatively, not even looking across where he's bitten, but at one of the points where a drop is trailing down the bottom of his wrist, preparing to drip off the bottom. And she just licks that small bit off the bottom of his wrist.
Stares at her. Do you trust me?
Yes.
Then why are you afraid?
Because this is everything you've warned me not to do.
Just a taste. There's nothing wrong with a taste, is there? I'm gonna roll that fucking seduction. somebody is playing up to their nature. That's 2 successes.
I'm not sure she really would try to resist it, so I'm not going to roll against it, honestly. It's almost like he's giving her exactly what she wants.
You only trust us, the ones who are connected to the song. You only trust me, don't you?
And considering the tone he's taking and the approach he's taking, she more easily this time offers a very slight nod.
And there's nothing wrong with a little taste, Mina. Isn't there not? It'll be our little secret.
And after a moment to process it, she this time, with far less reservation and absolutely zero sense of propriety, just, yeah, she very lewdly actually will take his wrist and trail her tongue, like, from the base of his palm, partway up his arm. Very pointedly in a teasing fashion, but definitely right across the point where he's bleeding. And we'll savor it the same way she would if this was a far, even
Oh,
somehow more inappropriate situation.
his blood tastes fucking phenomenal, by the way.
I mean,
King Knight's blood.
considering that she just ate a horse
Yeah, no,
on top of everything else.
like you've just ate a horse. This is way better than any other human blood you've had. It tastes phenomenal.
Oh God, you have that married, don't you?
Now, kindred blood, canine blood, usually does taste phenomenal
I,
compared to
I,
other blood.
I know. I was just figuring it would be even more ironic.
But compare and plus you'd be dining on horse. This is like fucking high line cuisine you've just been given.
Yeah,
Because
she has been.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, she hasn't been feeding from anything but the horses since the plague broke out. So she's not feigning her enthusiasm. Then yeah, she will very luridly continue very carefully, only looking at what spills out of his wrist.
Yeah, but he'll stop it after about one point is gone. So he's still one above his hunger score. So we're not going to have a day. And yeah, he'll eventually just take the wrist back and lick it and close, and he'll stare at Mina. Just a taste.
And well, she doesn't look scared anymore. She looks real hungry though.
Stand up. Feeling better?
And she will likewise, yeah, she stands up and just kind of eases into his front, looking to wrap her arms around him.
Now, clean Persepolis up. And I'll see you at home.
She turns.
Would you kindly? A grin.
She kind of turns to glance back towards the stall, still wrapped around him for the moment. I don't know how without being disrespectful.
It's okay. You clean him however you see fit. Just make sure he's clean and removed. Everything's washed. Can't be too careful. You plant a little peck on her cheek and begin to walk off, whistling.
And just before he slips out of her arms, she will squeeze him tightly again. And more earnestly this time, offer him a thank you.
You'll smile. Just remember who always says taking care of you. Mina. You grin and begin to walk off.
And he may well catch her if he glances back in the process. Because he did initially press his bloodied wrist to her lips. If he looks back, he'll catch her, like, essentially wiping her lips clean and actually licking her fingers. And just kind of studying the situation in that stall. Because that horse is a lot bigger than her. But she certainly has a certain air of devotion to her again as she sets very single-mindedly to the task. And I dare say, with you being a terrible person,
Yes.
I should end this fucking scene. So thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. We'll see you next time on Edessa, the Dark Crusade.